Hours away from the NBA trade deadline, and there has been some vexing chatter that has started to make its way around NBA circles that Kevin Durant could be on the move. We've reported that Phoenix has been willing to listen to offers for him in recent days, and as sources told our Brian Windhorst, the Warriors are among the teams that have interest. Shams Charania, our senior insider, is here alongside us now. Shams, where does all of this stand between the Suns, the Warriors, and Kevin Durant?
Malika, the Warriors have been seriously pursuing Kevin Durant over the last week, but sources tell me that Durant has no desire in a reunion with the Warriors. He does not want to go back to the Warriors, where he won 2 championships, won 2 finals MVPs. The Suns' position in all of this has been to continue to build around Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, but due to their record, teams have been very aggressive calling the Suns. It's unclear where these talks go between now and tomorrow's deadline, but one thing is clear around the league right now, and that's Kevin Durant does not want to go back to the Warriors in any trade. So for the Warriors, do they continue this pursuit of Kevin Durant? Do they move on to a guy like Jimmy Butler, who we've been discussing over the last couple of months? Is Chicago's Nikola Vucevic a target as well? We'll know in the next 24 hours.
Okay, so there will be no reunion, Shams, at least if Kevin Durant gets his way, between the Golden State Warriors and the MVP, the former MVP in Kevin Durant. We're trying to check back in with you a little bit later in the show. Brian Windhorst, I want to get your reaction here. When you hear that Kevin Durant does not want to go back to Golden State.
So over the last day or two, there's been some negotiations going on a 3-team maneuver between Miami, Golden State, and Phoenix that would have included Jimmy Butler and Kevin Durant. I don't know whether or not, I mean, I know what Shams says is correct. I don't know whether or not that precludes Miami or from Phoenix from still going ahead and trading him. He doesn't have a no-trade clause. They could, in theory, still trade him. They could, in theory, hold him and also hold Bradley Beal and just move on with the season, although their team is 500, not performing well. They could discuss what Kevin's going to do this summer. He's got 1 year left on his contract. They have to get a clarity on what he wants to do going forward. Or they could, having one side of the triangle out, discuss with Miami doing a trade straight up Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler. That trade works straight up. Now, the concept that the Suns had was to put Butler and KD together, that they've been working on for a month. So I don't know how that would work, but I don't know, with these talks, I don't know if KD can go back to Phoenix knowing that he was discussed out there.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you don't want to go back to a place where you won 2 championships and you had some success. We understand everybody loves Steph, so it has to be a reason. Is it a locker room? Is it a coaching thing? Is it a structure thing? Is it the way they play the game of basketball? It has to be a reason why he doesn't want to go back there because we've seen how it worked. We've seen he had success. Or is it a Draymond Green thing?
You know, I was there that last year. He was in Golden State, saw a lot of those games and saw this unhappiness no matter what their success was. Was it Draymond? Was it Joe Lacob behind the scenes? Was it Kerr? There were a lot of things there. And I was told that a couple days ago when Kevin heard about this Warriors rumbling, he was like, what? No, I don't want to go back there. Was pretty adamant. I think he approached the Suns to get some clarity on it. And can you work with me to find a place somewhere else? And you know, from what I hear right now, just got a text that it's dead.
I mean, 2 things.
The Warriors deal is dead
yeah.
for Kevin Durant.
Like they're moving on.
Okay.
Like.
Go ahead, UD. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, 2 things can be true. As a player, like you can want to go there and you can still have respect for those guys in the locker room.
Yeah.
But we don't forget anything. And there's certain things as players we don't accept and you can't say to us, we'll forgive you, but we won't forget it. And there may be a situation where he just might not want to be in that space again.
Well, for the most realistic outcomes, it seems like what you're saying, Brian, is that there could be something on the table for Miami and also for staying in Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, a trade KD for Jimmy Butler functionally works.
Okay.
The Suns are in a straitjacket in terms of making deals.
Yep.
They can make that deal. Pat Riley and the Heat have wanted Kevin Durant several times in the past. But again, the concept for the Suns was to put them together.
Right.
So I can't say for sure what's going to happen. There also could be another team that, once they hear Shams say this, and I promise you right now the league is reacting to Shams saying this and Spears just saying that this is dead, and there's a possibility that another team could come in and try to negotiate something with the Suns. But if I had to guess right now, admitting that things are changing, I would say he either stays in Phoenix or is a Miami Heat by tomorrow afternoon.
So Shanae and I think very similarly. And I know that what we're thinking right now is if KD is moved, what does that package even looks like? It feels like that's where we need to check in with Bobby Marks here. Bobby, let's crunch some numbers. What does this look like?
Well, I think it all depends on how much does Phoenix want Jimmy Butler, because as Brian said, really, realistically, the only path for Phoenix to get Jimmy Butler is certainly in a Kevin Durant type trade here. And I think when you look at it, right, Brian said Durant, Butler matches here. So when we look at Butler, certainly, and Durant, if you're the Phoenix Suns, you're looking at this roster and you're saying, like, how much else do we want, right, from this group? To just make the deal work, certainly within the CBA, we're going to just put Josh Richardson in here, and we're going to throw in a 2031 first. Okay, that deal on the paper works when you look at it here, okay? But let's go back and look at Miami's roster. If you are Phoenix, you're looking at, I want another pick here in 2029. And then I'm looking at some of your young players, Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jovic, 2 young players. And if you're Miami, you have to ask yourself, is that too much to go after Kevin Durant, where you're basically giving your young players and basically all your draft picks left?
But doesn't life just happen so fast, especially with the trade deadline? Because I feel like there's an elephant in the room. Why would they even think about trading Kevin Durant? And I spent some time thinking about that, and the only answer I can think of is if it's a competitive reset for them.
I can answer it. The Suns are having a tough season. They're 1 game over 500. They tried for a month to trade Bradley Beal. They can't. So now they're looking at status quo or doing something else. So, well, what if we trade Durant and we can get Jimmy Butler plus some things? Jimmy Butler plus Nikola Jovic, plus Jaime Jaquez, plus multiple first-round picks. And that way your team is still competitive and you reset yourself a little bit, but not be a rebuild.
Exactly, that competitive reset. But I also think about this being a huge learning lesson when it comes to the consequences of what people knew previously as the luxury tax, but now it's the second apron. When you pierce through that, it has consequences where salaries are aggregated and it makes it harder to move guys. So if your team, you put all these chips together, expensive contracts together, it has consequences when it doesn't work because you can't move them the way you assemble them. To me, that's number one. And two, this also tells me that they continue to believe that Devin Booker is the cornerstone, no matter what. Yeah. At 28 years old.
I can say this. Everybody on the Phoenix Suns, multiple people have told me, everybody on the Phoenix Suns has been made available except for Devin Booker.
Exactly.
I know that they can deny it and they can say that they didn't make a call on Kevin Durant and they only took calls, and that's fine. I am telling you, multiple teams told me, the Suns communicated that there was only one untouchable player on the roster.
Precisely.
And that was Devin Booker.
Devin Booker.
Two real quick things here. And I love Chanae's CBA knowledge here. Double apron teams, right? We're talking about very complex when you're dealing with 2 teams with the apron. Here's one thing. If this doesn't work out or materialize, look at a possible Jonas Valanciunas, Jusuf Nurkic type trade where Phoenix would attach one of those first-round picks they acquired from Utah. That's one of the side moves that's not involved in certainly the Jimmy Butler talks. Look for them to maybe go out and get Valanciunas on that deal.
And these are the types of moves that we're going to be monitoring between now and tomorrow's trade deadline.
Hey, what's up, guys? Jag from Jaggy Sports here. So, everybody and their dog thought that Kevin Durant was going to return to the Golden State Warriors just because of the fact that there was a snag in the Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler saga where Bradley Beal said, hell no, I'm not waiving my no trade clause. Miami Heat didn't want him in his contract because he's owed a lot of money for the next 2 years after this. So then it was basically, we got to trade Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was mentioned and was talked about by the Golden State Warriors, his former team. They actually asked about him. They actually talked to the Phoenix Suns saying, hey, what would it require for you to trade one Kevin Durant back to us? And when somebody asked Kevin Durant, he pretty much said that, hey man, I don't want to return back to my former team. So now we're back at status quo. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and Bradley Beal are still on the Phoenix Suns. Now you have a basic situation where it's kind of like tomorrow is a trade deadline. It's either Kevin Durant is a Phoenix Sun as of 1 minute past the deadline, or he's a member of the Miami Heat. That's right, Kevin Durant for one Jimmy Butler. That is what is being discussed right now. And Golden State would not be in this conversation. They would have to go back to Vucevic, whatever, sorry if I butchered the name again, to the Chicago Bulls saying, hey, we actually, didn't want you, or first we wanted you, now we don't want you, now we want you again. That's what's being discussed. So if Golden State Warriors lose out on this, it's a bad look for them. If the Miami Heat end up trading Jimmy Butler to the Phoenix Suns, it's for Kevin Durant. If the Miami Heat end up trading Jimmy Butler to Golden State, it's for a bunch of pieces. So those three teams, Golden State, Phoenix Suns, and the Miami Heat, are going to be talked about in the next 24 hours. Hang on to your seat. Let me know what you guys think. What the hell's going on? Where's Kevin Durant going to go? Where's Jimmy Butler going? We got less than 24 hours to go. Leave a comment in the comment section. As always, Jag from Jaggy Sports.